and welcome back to 24 Minutes of A24, the podcast that takes a look at the A24 library 24 minutes at a time. I am Ethan Simi.
And I'm Ben Lawhorn. This week on the pod, we are staying curious as we discuss friendship.
I'm surprised you didn't wink at me while you did that, just toss out a little Paul Rudd action.
I'd be afraid I would screw it up, and I wouldn't.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad.
Right.
It's lacking the ruddness for sure, but it's okay.
I mean, aren't we all? Yeah.
It really. A suburban dad falls hard for his charismatic new neighbor. Hi, Ben. How are you? It's been a little bit since we recorded. We last talked about Warfare, a movie that I have liked less as time has gone on.
Really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I've had the opposite reaction where you enjoyed it. It was something that I thought about getting from the A24 store, actually.
Wow, for
Blu-ray.
real?
I like the cover a lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it ultimately came down to as good as it is, I don't know how much I'd want to rewatch it. You know what I mean? I'd rewatch it to show someone for the first time, but I don't know that I would rewatch it just to watch it for myself.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it, but I'm excited to talk about this one.
The problem with me is that I like Civil War too much. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
I just got to pick one. Speaking of A24 physical media, I unwrapped my Baby Girl edition, my Blu-ray. I got this Baby Girl Blu-ray at a Walmart in my hometown, just podunk nowhere.
Crazy.
On sale, $15. $15. I almost bought 2 copies because I was like, this is a steal of the century. And it's the A24 edition. Open it up, played the physical disc. I watched it with my wife, who was less impressed with the movie than I thought she was going to be, which was a startling surprise. And for a movie that I pretty much didn't like at all when I saw it TIFF, and we will talk about this will not be the only time we talk about TIFF. When I saw it at TIFF last year, I came around on it really quickly, and really? I love Baby Girl. I know we haven't talked about Baby Girl on this pod. It was kind of in our hiatus season. Maybe one day we'll get around to Baby Girl. But you're right. I'm excited to talk about friendship. We have a lot of things to talk about news-wise. Before we do that, should we talk A24 Housekeeping real fast?
So much to cover. Yeah, a lot has happened.
Yeah, so much to cover. We're gonna do a live trailer reaction. I want to save that for the end. I want to save that for when we're done talking about news, if that's okay with you.
For sure.
Okay, so first up on the housekeeping. This is somewhat dated news, I guess, at this point in time, but we just haven't done a pod since this news kind of came to fruition, so we're kind of tackling it all. A24 lands a movie called The Writers. Brad Pitt to star, Edward Berger to direct. Sounds great. I'm in.
Yeah, I like both of those people. Edward Berger, director of Conclave and All Quiet on the Western Front.
Hey, bro. Conclave rips.
It really does.
Again, talking about TIFF, I saw Conclave at TIFF, and I was like, this movie is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's so good. It was fun to see it all get whatever memed and stuff like that throughout the actual conclave that's been going on. It was perfect timing for that. But yeah, The Writers, I don't know anything about it. I just pulled it up. An Australian living in Ireland embarks on a frantic search for his missing wife. Cool.
Okay. Sounds great.
Are we getting Brad Pitt with an Australian accent? Or Brad Pitt with an Irish accent? Either way, yeah, let's do it. I'm excited. Yeah.
Who is the missing wife? Who do you think they're going to cast?
I would just love a reunion with Angelina Jolie. Let's make it happen.
Whoa.
They got to get back together at some point. Let's make it happen.
That's the long
or Jennifer Aniston.
Right there.
I guess that's his missing wife. Yeah.
That would be a deep-seated metatext on everything that's wrong.
That'd be so crazy.
That would be hilarious. I have nobody that I would cast because I'm terrible at these games where you cast people, unfortunately. Okay, second piece of news. A24 is closing their documentary division. This is fairly recent news when this pod will come out. That includes 5 staff layoffs. Of course, this is the division that gave us projects like Val, Amy, Steve that we covered semi-recently on the pod, the 2-part Steve Martin documentary. I guess the reasoning here is that it's just not a viable business option. I guess a few years ago, A24 was searching for a buyer, did not find a buyer. So they basically had to have a big infusion of cash. Obviously, they lost a bunch of money on Beau Was Afraid and have since pivoted to news that we've talked about here before of them leaning more towards, how should we say, broadly appealing genres, I think.
Yeah.
Less of the Spring Breakers and more of the, I guess, friendship kind of falls in that category, like a broad comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It's less art house stuff or
Yeah.
niche, whatever, just more general audience, the general public out there. So I think we've seen a little bit of that switch, but it's a bummer they're closing the documentary division. Like that's my favorite stuff is documentaries. I think they've done a great job with everything that we've watched, but it's totally understandable that it's just like, it's not a viable source of income, unfortunately, like it's just not.
Yeah. And I think like that's the big reason why they are closing it. Unfortunate because A24 was probably one of like the best champions of those kind of documentaries that like
Yeah.
matter. No more, which is a bummer. We haven't really covered a documentary in quite a while. Like, frankly, I get it because like we didn't even talk about Steve McQueen's Occupied City on here, a movie directed by Steve McQueen, distributed by A24 that nobody saw and nobody talked about. And frankly, I don't even know where you can watch it. So
yeah, same. Like A24 doesn't have a release problem or at least like get the message out problem. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck? It's crazy.
Terrible stuff. But yeah, of course, not good when it comes to 5 staff layoffs. Okay, next on the docket, A24/7. Now this is something that I think has already transpired at this point in time. This is at the Prince Charles Cinema. Let me go on their website. Maybe it hasn't happened. This news came out like a month ago. Oh wow. Okay, cool. So this is actually going to happen basically the same day. Oh, it's happening over the course of a week. Okay. So what it is the Prince Charles Cinema in London is showing a ton of A24 movies. And then they are having one kind of 7 nights, 7 films of A24. Dang. The reason I bring this up, not only is it a cool initiative for somewhere like the Prince Charles Cinema to do something like this, I think that's very neat. The 7 movies that they chose are really interesting to me. Everything Everywhere All at Once, Uncut Gems, Midsommar, Moonlight, Lady Bird, Past Lives, The Lighthouse. This is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Based on what we just talked about with the documentary division, based on a text that I sent you a few days ago saying, hey, Neon just won the Palm for the 6th year in a row at Cannes. Is Neon out A24ing A24? Those movies, I know you can argue that Past Lives is new. I know you can argue that Everything Everywhere All at Once is new. These are all like A24 breakout, in my opinion. These are all the groundwork of what made A24 A24. It is not new movies. It is all things that everybody knows is synonymous with A24 that are older.
Yeah, it's true. And I'm wondering, I'm doing research on the fly here, but I think are they all Oscar nominated? Or not Uncut Gems?
Yeah. Fuck
I think
off.
Uncut Gems
That's
did,
so rude.
No. I'm just like, I honestly just looked that one up. It should have been for sure. But obviously Everything Everywhere, Moonlight,
yeah, interesting.
Lady Bird, Past Lives, The Lighthouse was. I don't know about Midsommar. But
Uncut Gems not Oscar nominated.
Kind of crazy.
Midsommar not Oscar nominated. That's how did that not get a production nom at least?
Yeah,
anyway.
That's wild.
Anyway, I find it fascinating. I think that's a really cool thing Prince Charles is doing.
Sure.
I only hear amazing things about the Prince Charles Cinema. I hope if you live near there that you went or attended or anything like that. But that's an interesting lineup to me. That's all.
That's where my partner and I saw The Room.
No way.
Yeah, the Prince Charles. Yeah, it's an awesome.
Wow.
Theater.
It's a good theater?
It's a great theater. It's awesome.
I've never seen a movie abroad. Never.
Goals, Make it happen.
I'd like to change that. Prince Charles Cinema, if you're listening, send me out. I will
do our international pod there.
I would love to come, and we'll do a night of 24 minutes of A24. Now that'd be sick. Okay, we got a few other things. Like I said, the Neon won the Palm for the 6th time. Worth mentioning. You replied back to me. You would still take A24's catalog over Neon's catalog, which I don't disagree with. But at the day of recording, there is a tweet kind of going around catching a lot of steam that's like the 4 horsemen of cinema. And it's like Criterion, Janus, Neon, and then there was one other, and it wasn't A24.
Interesting.
And I find that fascinating that the public perception is changing maybe.
For sure. And I said what I said and I stand by it, but I also don't know how much longer it would be that way. Like the way Neon is like doing some great films.
Yeah.
You know, and A24, obviously, like we've enjoyed some of their stuff, but more often than not, if people go back on the last few episodes, it's been like, damn, I would love to talk about a good movie, you know, but unfortunately we're talking about, you know, whatever we've talked about. So, yeah, Neon's, they're doing it for sure.
I also wanted to bring up this point specifically, and I'm trying to see if there's like an easy list, and it doesn't appear so. But the winners out of Cannes, A24 not on this list. Now, it's not uncommon for them to kind of walk away from Cannes either empty-handed or make a late bid for something out of Cannes. I think After Sun is possibly the last thing they got out of Cannes, which was a few years ago now. So, Mubi, huge winner out of Cannes. Neon, huge winner out of Cannes. Basically bought the rights to pretty much all of the big movies, like between those two distributors. And I wonder, just with that, if Neon is, if the speed is coming, like if it is Neon's time.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like it feels like, I don't know if A24 is resting on their laurels or if they're just,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's kind of curious. You know, as far as sports I follow, it's basketball, and there's just a time when it's like, oh, this person is no longer the greatest player in the league. We can see the new people coming up.
Right.
And I wonder if that's kind of what this is. Where it's like Mubi's coming in, Neon's coming in, and maybe they're following a little bit of the A24, you know, textbook and just beating them at their own game right now. I don't know. It's hard to say, but they're doing a great job.
A24 went into Cannes with 3 movies: Ari Aster's Eddington, Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest, and Harry Lighton's debut feature Pillion, which is like the BDSM thriller starring Alexander Skarsgård, which I've heard incredible things about. They didn't walk away buying anything. That's the big problem for me. They went with their movies. Now you could argue that's better because they have faith in what they already have.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I find it interesting. Eddington premiered at Cannes, mixed reviews at best. A lot of people calling it like ultimately insufferable. Famously, David Ehrlich, a big film curmudgeon, loved Eddington. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect about Eddington, frankly, and I'm really excited.
I'm just going in expecting nothing this time. Nothing at all.
The Beau is afraid. Problem,
yeah, I'm not gonna Beau is afraid myself again. So I'm just like, whatever this movie is, I will watch it. Yeah.
Eddington comes out July 18th. Are we doing a Beau is Afraid re-review? The Rebo?
You really want to do this, don't you?
I really fucking want to do this so bad, dude.
We just talked about the fact that we didn't watch like Unoccupied City or Baby Girl or all these others. It's like, let's do Beau's Afraid again.
Didn't watch any major A24 awards contenders, and we're sitting here, and I'm sitting here talking about how A24 is falling off, and I'm like, let's talk about Beau's Afraid again for another 2 hours.
There's people that are like maybe discovering this podcast, like, oh, I'd love to hear what they said about The Brutalist. Like, sorry, bud, not gonna happen.
Dice. Can't talk about it.
Happen. But if you want to hear us talk about Beau's Afraid twice, like we can do that.
we here for you.
We here for you.
As Tom Wamskamps would say. Yeah, look, you know, I make the schedule, and I frankly, I'll just tell you when to show up, and I'll just
That's
be like,
all I'm here to do.
Watch Beau's Afraid. I think that has to happen. I'm so sorry to everybody out there dying for my thoughts again on The Brutalist, as if I didn't say them enough places elsewhere, everywhere. Okay, I have 2 more things. We're going to do the live trailer reaction, and then the one other piece of news, Dominic Sessa is going to play Anthony Bourdain in Tony. Antonio Banderas, speaking of Baby Girl, also to star. Movie takes place in 1976 when a young Bourdain has a life-changing experience working in Provincetown, Massachusetts. This is good. I feel like we kind of guessed this. There was rumors this was going to happen. We talked about it here, and we said, hey, maybe it'll ignite the first ever A24 book club on the pod. Yeah,
it's quite possible. I'm excited about this. I was trying to think of where I saw Dominic Sessa because he popped up on my eyeballs the other day, and I realized that it was the trailer for Now You See Me, Now You Don't. He's going to be in that movie.
Have you seen any of the Now You See Me movies?
Yeah, I've seen them both for sure.
Oh, you have? Okay. I haven't seen any of them. I watched the trailer for Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and I was like, this might be my new favorite trilogy, and I haven't seen any of the movies.
It's interesting. I think Radcliffe is in the second one.
Really? Did not know that.
Yeah, which
I own these films on physical disc. I just haven't.
Do you
watched
really?
them. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in it. But yeah, Now You See Me Too. Walter Mabry, Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, that's what he did right after Swiss Army Man. Wow. So it just gives you an idea of kind of like he was just, I'm just gonna do whatever. So
wow. Good headspace. I don't know. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you think about them. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to like spoil your, views on it, but I'm curious.
I can't believe I've gone this long without having them really told to me, which is part of the thrill, frankly. So, yes, I'm excited for this. I think Dominic Sessa is great. National treasure. He's great in The Holdovers, an overrated film, but that's okay. Okay. Do you want to watch the trailer for The Smashing Machine?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this trailer came out 4 weeks ago. I haven't seen it. I have abstained because I wanted to watch it here on the show.
I'm amazed by that, but that's great.
I am too. I am too.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't do it. Really, all I had to do was get past like the first social reactions, like the first hour, and then I was kind of home free. Nice. Smashing Machine trailer, 2.5 minutes on A24. Okay, here we go. I think I'll put this in our YouTube video as well. I think I'll like supplant this in the middle.
Cool.
You think YouTube will let that? Can I do that?
I don't know. One way to find out, I guess.
They know me. They know me over there. They'll prove it.
You guys are cool.
All right, I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1, play, and then on play we'll click. Okay.
Count it down.
All right, first ever live trailer reaction here on this show. We've been going for almost 200 episodes. Had to happen eventually. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Probably looking at my eyes.
How did that happen?
Wow, that's Dwayne Johnson.
Well, have you ever
Smashing
heard of
things.
the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC?
It's huge.
That's the bloody thing they're trying to ban.
His hair is really throwing me off, bro. I can't do it.
Do you hate each other when you fight?
Absolutely not.
I can see the Benny Safdie. Like you can pick it up real fast.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, we go way back. But he's a buddy of mine.
Well, home video.
Come on, baby. Too much?
Never.
Too much?
No.
Frank Sinatra covering.
Wow. Was that Emily Blunt?
I think it was.
Stop it.
Damn.
It's the best feeling there is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
When they're cheering you on. There's no other high like it in the world. No contract, no money?
No money.
Do you have any stronger pain medication?
Oh no.
Advil? Don, would you like?
No.
They're handing them out like candy.
I gotta say, I'm pretty
Let's all
locked
get
in
Let's
right
all-
now.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Don, can you take this picture for us?
Yeah.
What are you thinking at the beginning of the fight?
It's simple. Am I going to hurt him before he hurts me?
That's impressive prosthetics.
Oh, dropping the rock. Just Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, oh boy. I love this energy.
Fighter in the world. He has come back from the brink. Let's see if he can pull out a victory over Mark Coleman. Have you spoken to either about fighting such a good friend for a life-changing amount of money?
I just need you to let me in.
God, he's jacked as fuck, dude. Oh, this is what I'm waiting for. That's what I was waiting for.
Let's fucking go. My big strong man, I love you.
Oh, wow.
All
I
right.
think he wants your autograph.
Sure, no problem. No fighting.
October 3rd.
Okay. So I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm
for
in.
sure.
I'm in. Wow. That was a great trailer.
Edited by Benny Safdie. Interesting.
Edited by Benny.
The
Okay.
movie. Yeah.
You know what I'm really interested to know? I don't think the answer is yes, but I want to double check who's scoring this film. Because if you get Daniel Lopatin to score this, oh boy. Oh boy. He was probably too busy scoring Hurry Up Tomorrow, unfortunately. I don't see anybody scoring this yet.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to find it too.
Oh, wait. Composer. Nala Sinafro. is known for the Smashing Machine. This appears to be their only musical credit. Huh.
So
Well,
for airports. Interesting.
this is big. Like I said during the trailer, I was waiting for an emotional, explosive moment from them. And that
Yeah.
appears to be the movie where you have to have it. It is the movie that, whether you like the term or not, is designed to hold an Oscar kind of platitude, I feel like.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
gearing up to this big emotional break. Dwayne Johnson looks good. I'm famously like a Dwayne Johnson hater. I think he's just like kind of really not it. But this is it. So he's doing Smashing Machine, he's doing Scorsese's movie, and he's linking up with A24 for a psychological thriller in the future as well, which we did not talk about.
That is, yeah. He's massive, but he looks even more massive in this trailer. It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
The hair is kind of throwing me off. So is the goatee when he was bald. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
he's bald, but now he has a goatee. It's kind of interesting. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm curious to see what he can do. I don't know how many times we've seen him play authentic, like a sincere, not superhero-ish person. So I'm curious because this feels like that's what this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was having a conversation with a friend of ours, Brian Sudfield, earlier today, thinking about things that might premiere at TIFF, because I'm going to TIFF in September. TIFF is the 4th through the 14th of September. This comes out 4 weeks later. This seems ripe for a world premiere at TIFF to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Benny Safdie, Emily Blunt, Dwayne Johnson, first big premiere of the press cycle going into this film. That seems like it would work. I fear this movie might be very good. Shoot.
It just might be. And it'll be interesting to see what this Safdie v. Safdie brings about, if anything. You know, with what's the other one called? I forget. It was Timmy?
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme. Yeah.
Directed by Josh Safdie. Yeah. That's so interesting. They're coming out 2 months apart from each other.
I'm very curious. This will be a very niche comparison that I'm about to make.
Okay.
But there is a band that I love called At the Drive-In.
Mm-hmm.
And that band broke up and they became two separate bands. One is the Mars Volta and one is Sparta. And my point in all this is like, it's interesting when you hear them as the solo bands, you can hear what they did in At the Drive-In. I'm curious if we're going to be able to see like, oh, this is what Josh was giving to Uncut Gems. This is what Benny was giving to Good Time. You know what I mean? Like, are we going to see their individual styles come out from the pairing? I'm very curious to see what that does.
Yeah. I'm super interested in the Josh Safdie side of things because like Benny has been making things. Like Benny made The Curse. You know what I mean? Like Benny has been working with A24. So it feels like he's a little bit more fresh off of things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Interesting. Really, really interesting. He's also, he was in Oppenheimer. So working on that accent. Speaking of accent work. Okay, that was fun. Smashing Machine is going to be really good. That's exciting. All right. You ready to talk about Friendship?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's talk about Friendship, a movie that is all about male friendship. Just the struggles that it takes to make a good friend when you're a guy. And I feel represented in this film, and that's what matters the most. This movie premiered at TIFF in September of 2024. Didn't screen anywhere really after that. It screened at South by, screened at a couple other festivals post that. Premiered in New York and LA, May 9th. Again, the A24 classic slow rollout here. And then it made its nationwide premiere May 23rd, so the weekend before this came out. That was the first time that you got to see this movie. I've seen Friendship twice now. I saw it at TIFF and I saw it a couple of weeks ago. What did you think of Friendship, Ben?
I had a good time with it. I thought it was funny. I wanted or expected more funny, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But like I still thought it was hilarious. Like there are still moments that my partner and I are like quoting to each other, just like
right.
So there's plenty of stuff here. This isn't saying it's not enough. I think we've been or I'm speaking for myself here, but like the whole I think you should leave of it all, where it's just like jam packed, joke. Like it's in there nonstop because it has to be, because it's like a 15-minute show,
Mhm.
And I was expecting that kind of pace with this. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be nonstop laughs. And it's like, it's not necessarily, but when the laugh comes, it's usually hilarious. Like it's usually really funny. I think the cast was great. I loved everyone in this. And yeah, it's like what Kate Mara, I think, is his wife, and Paul Rudd is the friend, and obviously Tim Robinson as our main dude. Like, and there's just so much like weird, awkward stuff in here, but it plays perfectly to that type of humor.
Yeah.
There's some like, I don't know, I'm curious. There's always the question of the trade-off of like how much you put in the trailer versus how much like
Mhm.
how much do you need to put in the trailer to get seats, get butts in the seats. And I mean, you'll speak to it, but like there are a lot of butts and seats at your showings, you know what I mean? And mine
Yeah.
was pretty good too. It was like a 2:00 on Memorial Day. Like it was a pretty packed house for the most part. So yeah, I don't know. I had a good time with this movie. I thought it was funny. I want to revisit it. I want to see it again now that I know what's happening and everything. But overall I had a great time.
Sorry, your video cut. So I don't know what you officially thought of the film at the very end. Oh no. Did you freeze?
Oh, yours is cutting out right now too.
Oh my gosh. Are you here? Ben,
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me,
Okay,
Ben?
just a little delayed or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I think it's
this
just a delay.
I think this is the universe trying to tell us that male friendship, is stopped at every junction, at every turn.
It is stopped.
It really is.
yes.
Listen, I agree. I hear everything you're saying, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I really liked this movie. It's just like a really solid comedy to me. It's not like you said. I guess maybe I was expecting it to be like, the Step Brothers of this generation.
Yeah.
I do feel like in some instances it does hit that. The overall thinking here for me is that every skit works, and it kind of is just like 100 minutes of I think you should leave, just like sparsed out a little bit more and played a little bit longer with Paul Rudd, which is great. I do feel like the second act drags pretty significantly, and I wonder if you trim this to like a 93-minute heater, if it's like 5-star gold. Don't know. We got 100. We got 100 minutes here. And I am excited to revisit this. I know I've already seen it twice. I'm excited to buy the physical media whenever A24 puts it out. Of course, they have already put out merch for this Ocean View Dining collection. The pants, incredible, great bit in this movie, which I think like. Once we get into our, kind of true cinema, we're going to talk, I guess, mostly just about like the bits and what worked and what didn't work. I think it's a really good movie. It's really smart, in my opinion, that they released this movie on Memorial Day weekend nationally, because it was a 3-way counter programming going on with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Lilo and Stitch, and Friendship. And those all are different. The Venn diagram of those is like very far apart. Like the overlap is pretty narrow. So it was really smart for A24. And I really liked a lot of this movie. I just think it drags slightly. And it's a lot, to keep this going for 100 minutes, basically an hour 40. It did pretty good at the box office. My screening was packed, sold out. Like literally, my local theater was showing this 5 to 6 times a day over the last 2 weeks, and every Thursday through Sunday show sold out. Like literally 6 shows a day sold out. Absolutely unbelievable. They were doing like a 7, a 7:45, an 8:30, a 9, and a 9:45, all sold out, which is madness. I think people really like this movie. It's getting a lot of, I think it's like doing a lot of good word of mouth, a lot of good business. What else should we talk about, like, generally for this movie? Do you think, like, thematically it works? Like, do you think there is enough underlying thematic resonance of, like, yeah, it's tough to find male friends when you're over a certain age? And did it matter to the movie?
Oh man, I don't know how much of that was there. Like as much as it was more like he's just kind of an awkward dude, which I like related to 100%. But it didn't seem like this is the thing that he's been trying to do, like to make friends. So that theme or that kind of idea just wasn't there for me. I also don't know that it was like super important. It was just like, oh, like new person in the neighborhood. It is funny to like make a new friend as you're actively trying to move out of a neighborhood. It's to be like,
Right, yeah.
now's the time to make friends with this person as I'm trying to sell my house. Like I thought that was kind of funny and interesting choice. But yeah, I don't know that if that was the theme, how much that like stuck around for me, or honestly how much it really mattered. Like I think it was okay. I think it really did kind of highlight at some point, it's like, how do you make friends? You know what I mean? Like it really is kind of, it can be kind of weird, you know, if it's not like a person you knew at work or a person you've known for a long time. It's like, I don't know how you make a friend at this point. So that was kind of funny to see. And obviously like we'll get into true cinema, but like how maybe it doesn't go well, you know, like those aspects of it too. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually think that like thematic journey is there, and I actually think the movie does a pretty good job of like wrapping it with the monologue that we get from Tim at the very end. Of course, his character's name is Craig Waterman, which I think is a great name. He's a marketing executive in Clovis, Colorado, which is a made up suburb, which I think is great as well. So I actually think it works pretty well. I do think the strain between it, like trying to have some semblance of like thematic resonance at the end, hurts it because like it is just a funny movie, like at the end of the day. But Tim Robinson does have the face where you're just like, ah, man, that's tough. You know, like you're just, what are you going to do? Yeah, you're an awkward guy. And this just so happened to you. Like you got carried away. But it's just a really smart, funny premise, I think, for a movie of like, you know, as there's a bit in this movie, like you can't do that. You accepted me way too fast.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Like that happens. Like it's very real. So I think it is pretty successful on all of those fronts. I liked it more the second time that I watched it. And I think on rewatches, it will only get better. I think on rewatches, like it'll get funnier and funnier. Would you like to see more Tim Robinson in more movies? Do you think this is a good space for him?
That's a great question because I think everything I've known of him has been TV related, with whether it's SNL or Detroiters or I Think You Should Leave.
Detroiters is so great. So underrated. It's so
really
underrated.
So it's like, it's interesting that this is the first exposure I've had to him in a movie, but I liked him. I thought it was good. I'd be curious to see what he would follow this up with.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I think this movie works because it's just him and Paul Rudd. You know, like I worry if you put him in another circumstance, it might not work as well. One more general thing that I wanted to say before we get into true cinema. There is a moment, and we'll talk about it, where Connor O'Malley shows up, longtime kind of collaborator with Tim Robinson, icon in all facets and fronts. He shows up in this movie for like, I don't know, 95 seconds.
Yeah.
A, he's fucking lights out with every single thing that he says in this movie. B, he was also in I Saw the TV Glow, which I think is hysterical, in my opinion. Like, he shows up in that, and then he shows up in Friendship, and like he is super, super funny. So I think to do that kind of double billing with Connor O'Malley is great. Are you ready to do true cinema? Should we try to break this movie down?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do this. So I don't know how this is going to go, if we're just going to do bits or how much we're going to stick to the narrative. I guess we'll find out. So he meets Austin, who is Paul Rudd's character, and basically meets him because he is getting ready to move out of the neighborhood, and Austin's package shows up at his doorstep. And his wife is like, "Will you go take this down to him?" And he meets him, and they kind of have this moment. They lock eyes. He says, stay curious. And Craig is like, oh, wow, that was magic. And that was something special. The thing that I want to mention here, and I have it as the next bullet point, we see this in the trailer. I think at least in one of the trailers where we get the Marvel bit, obviously, like, hey, there's a new Marvel out. It's supposed to be nuts. That's great. Really smart to program that a couple of weeks after Thunderbolts comes out. Where their kid, so it's Tim Robinson and Kate Mara, Tammy, they have a kid, Steven. And Tim Robinson's just in the living room, and Steven is like, oh, I'm going to go do whatever, because Tim is trying to get him to come to the new Marvel with him. So he kisses his mom on the lips. And Tim Robinson's just like, you guys kiss each other on the lips now? And it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. A lot of thoughts on this. Number one thought, how the fuck did Craig marry Tammy? How did this happen? Number two, how often do they, like, okay, here's the question. How often does he wake her up with a lick, which is noted in this movie? Do you want me to wake you up with a lick? She seems very excited about that. How's that going down? How's the bedroom circumstance for these guys? Is Craig good in bed? That's another very important question to this movie.
Maybe
And the third question, I don't think Tammy ever left Craig, because she is all too quick to go back with her ex-boyfriend, whose name is Devin, who she has rekindled a relationship with. And that's a bit throughout the whole movie of, like, pretty sure they're already sleeping together. Craig is just oblivious to it, which is really funny. A lot of questions. All to say, I think Kate Mara being cast as Tim Robinson's wife is fucking hysterical.
Yeah, no, it was great. She's perfect for this because she's able to play it kind of like subtly or whatever, but still just the random awkwardness. Like, you've got to be willing to do weird stuff when you're doing something with Tim Robinson. And I think, like, she's willing to go for it. Just like, I mean, Paul Rudd is obviously, like, with his history with, like, Tim and Eric and stuff like that. So I think that's why this movie was cast really well, because all these people are on board. This part, this is another one where it's like, it was unfortunate how much of it was in the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be my true cinema moment, but one of my favorite lines in here, he's like, you don't know my schedule. Like, that's hilarious. It's so funny. And it's such like a subtle delivery. Like, it's just kind of deadpan, like, and they just move on from it. They don't even hold on it. You know what I mean? But like, that is hilarious, because if there's one person in the world that knows your schedule, it's your wife. And she's like, you just sit there all night. That's all you do. But like, I just love it's probably my favorite line delivery of the whole movie. He's like, you don't know my schedule. Just so funny. But there's so much great stuff in these early scenes.
Yeah, this is obviously as well. We get introduced to Tammy's Florals, the business that she runs. We have the ongoing bit about her wanting a bigger car, and this kind of comes to fruition at the end of the film. We're obviously spoiling friendship here, where he does end up buying her a van to put all these flowers in. I like that bit as well. I think that's pretty funny. Kind of comes back at the end of the second act, which I think is like a remarkably emotional moment that kind of falls a little deaf, unfortunately. This is interesting to see what people laugh at, because if you're not familiar with Tim Robinson, I had never watched I Think You Should Leave before I saw Friendship at TIFF. And I saw Friendship and I was like, this guy is hilarious. I'm so locked in. Proceeded to watch every season of I Think You Should Leave like multiple times. Watched the entire season of Detroiters after this. Like, I was so locked in on Tim Robinson, and I laughed at different things this time because I knew his comedy differently and better. Yeah. And so, yeah, this is a great like theatrical experience for sure. The next bullet point I have is the first night at Austin's. Goes over, basically shares a beer with Austin, who is Paul Rudd's character, and he gets a nosebleed from this artifact that he touches. And really funny, really weird, and just like pretty out of left field. And this is where we find out that Austin is a weatherman. They kind of like share some bonding, and this kicks us into like a stretch of them bonding. I think this is kind of one of the clips that A24 released where they're in the park together and they're just like drinking Slurpees. This is like kind of all over the promo material. Yeah. And Tim Robinson is sinking into like a pit, and he drops his phone and he just yells like, "Oh, fuck." And it's hilarious. And their relationship is automatically really weird.
Super weird. And it's so good. I mean, throughout this segment, I think this is also after he does the nosebleed, he's like, let's go on an adventure. I'll get you a clean shirt, and then they, go through the sewers and do all that kind of stuff. And just the physical comedy of like not being able to jump up onto the ledge, to go to the next spot. And I don't know, this is really just going to be us doing bits. You know what I mean?
It really is. Yeah.
That's another one, a hilarious moment when he just like screams. He's like, ow. It's like, what's wrong? He's like, I dropped my shoe. It's like, and he's screaming like he's in so much pain. Like it's just, the humor is so good. I love it.
That's where we go in the sewers. That's where we get the ocean view dining bit as well.
Yeah.
This is where Craig spends all of his money, and he is
OVD.
really OVD, and he loves their new fall winter collection. It's really great. He's excited to spend a lot of money on them. So yeah, they explore the sewers, which is great. Again, like comes back later in the movie. We do get a boys' night. Now this is important because this kind of was the premise for a lot of these trailers of seeing Craig with these guys, with Austin and his buddies, and they start singing a song a cappella together, and he's kind of entering this trance of like feeling accepted and loved by these guys that he just kind of got to know. It's obviously extended in the film, but they end up putting on like boxing gear, and they're kind of like tussling with each other. Craig and Austin end up tussling a little bit. This is where Craig is like, don't punch too hard. I have calls with CEOs in the morning, which is really another like throwaway line that is hilarious. And they kind of tussle a little bit, and Craig just decks Austin, just absolutely pummels him and ends the boys' night. And the guys are like, you're weird. Like you ruined it. You took it too far and you blew this. And he obviously tries to recover. This is also the moment that we get probably the most I think you should leave bit, sticking the soap in his mouth. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a bad boy. And you can really tell, at least in my theatrical experience, who is really locked into Tim Robinson humor and who is like, what the fuck is going on? Why did I come see this with my partner? And it was a good split in the theater because I was fucking dying. And there were a lot of people around me that were just like sitting in silence. And I was like, you guys are not understanding what's happening.
Oh, we had multiple moments where it's just like Ashley and I laughing and like no one else was. And it's like, no, this is hilarious. You guys, like, this is so funny. And it was just like little moments. Like there's one part, I don't even remember exactly what it is, but he's calling his wife, I think, and he tells her he loves her. And it's like the way he says it. It was just like, I'm not even gonna try to do it, but it was so funny. And I don't know. There's just so much good stuff here. But the whole, don't worry, guys, I know my punishment. It's just like grabbing the soap. It's like, oh my God. And it feels like you almost see these people break. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I don't think they knew how long this was going to go on. Like, I feel like he's extending this, and I don't know. It was so well done.
That's why I'm so excited for the A24 Blu-ray. The outtakes on this thing, the behind the scenes with Andrew DeYoung, like they did like a promo stunt where they did kind of questions in the dark wearing night vision goggles. Andrew DeYoung, the director, and Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. Like, if we're getting that kind of stuff, that physical disc is worth having.
For sure.
It is going to be packed with fun stuff. The movie then takes like a pretty dramatic turn, hilariously dark turn. This is where Craig is like, let's spice up our marriage because I see that you're like kind of leaving me for Devin in lifetime. Also, like, Austin's rubbing off on me. I want to go do something cool and spice up our life. Let's go on an adventure. They go to the sewers. They go down into the sewers. This is where there's a bat in one of the things. And he's like, no, I'm not going down there. Not back to the bat, which is really funny. And then his wife, Tammy, jumps up to the second story and goes into the sewers. And Craig basically loses Tammy in the sewers.
Tammy,
Before I forget, I do want to note, and we'll get back to, we'll talk about this part, but like her coming back and her arrival party that we get. When they have a conversation on the couch after this party and all of these things happen, when Tammy is like, I had an orgasm in the sewers. And his response to that is unbelievable. He's kind of stunned and he's kind of in silence.
Yeah.
And this is like a callback to the very first joke that we get in this movie, where they're
Yes.
kind of at like a trauma circle a little bit, and Tammy's
Yeah.
like, I'm doing better, I'm recovering, all of these things. Like, I don't know when I'll ever have an orgasm again. And Craig is like, I'm having an orgasm just fine. And that is so funny. I do think this movie very successfully connects a lot of bits and connects a lot of jokes really, really smartly. But do you have any thoughts on him losing Tammy in the sewer?
I do, but I need to jump to the beginning of the movie because that's when I knew I was like, okay, I'm into this. Like,
Yeah.
this serious, I think it's like a cancer survivor kind of meeting or something like that. And she's like, and I'm worried it's coming back. And the way he just leans over, he's like, it's not coming back. It's just like the type of voice he uses. So it's like, oh my God, okay. I'm
so
on board for this
funny.
movie. This is gonna be great. And then the whole orgasms bit, and like he just is quiet. It's like, what the fuck? You know, it's like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
So funny.
I love when he loses her. Another line that I think just kind of got looked over by a lot of people is when they're walking in the sewer and she's like, is that piss? And he says, some of it. And I don't know why, but it's like so funny to me because it's like, what else is in there? You know, and it's just like, some of it. But yeah, it's so good. Gets her up on the ledge and then she takes off and he obviously has to struggle again with getting up there. And yeah, that whole sequence was just, you got to do a little suspension of disbelief kind of thing. It's like, I don't know how quickly she can't hear him or it was intentional or something like that because he was fucking screaming, but yeah, that does take a turn here, but I think it works.
It does beg the question, did she intentionally perhaps run away in the sewer? This is where we get the bit as well, where the cops come to his door and they're like, someone broke in to Austin's house. And I guess we kind of skipped over this. He ends up breaking into Austin's house unintentionally, I guess, kind of. He's like pretty mad at him because Austin's like, we should take a break from our friendship. And he ends up stealing Austin's gun. And the cops come to the door and are like, someone broke into Austin's house. And this one, Craig is like, you're saying they broke into my house too? And they're like, no, we think it was you. They're like, where's your wife? And he just responds, she's in the sewer. It just kind of hard cuts to another scene, which is super, super funny. Next on the list here, I did mention her party. I want to talk about this party really fast because I mentioned Connor O'Malley's character in the beginning of this conversation. This is where we get to see Devin, who I just know him as one of the guys from She-Hulk because I was invested in that show. I actually think it's pretty good. And he is in this show. He's a jacked firefighter. He looks incredible compared to Tim Robinson. And is like, and basically addresses Tammy with his last name. And Craig is like, oh, it's Waterman. And it's really awkward at this party. And then Craig gets up on a chair and toasts and is like, we should toast Tammy and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, if you want to say anything, you have to get on this chair. And Tim walks outside. And this is where we get a bit with him kind of mumbling to himself of like, oh, calling everybody little shits and stuff, which is really funny. And Connor O'Malley gets on the chair and is like, listen, first off, I think we should have stayed in Afghanistan. But you don't see his character. You just hear it.
You just hear it from the party.
This is another one of the most like bifurcating moments in the whole movie where it's like, you either think this is the funniest shit in the world or you think it is dumb as hell. And I fall into the former where I was crying at how funny this statement is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it was so funny because you see him even making his way to the chair as the scene is continuing on. It's like, oh shit, he's
like,
going to get up there. Like what's going to happen? And then just, I mean, and the way Craig cuts off Devin, I think. And then he's like, no, you got to be on the chair. You're going to say something. Like it's just so wild. But yeah, it's the perfect, it's great editing. You know what I mean? It's just like, we don't need to be in the room to hear this joke, but we can be with Craig outside and then hear it. And it's like, it's still hilarious. And it totally is.
This is the point where Tammy essentially leaves, and Craig kind of enters a little bit of a depression. This is where we get the moment that I think is the strangest and also funnier every time that I hear it. And this is where Steven has a friend over and Craig is like, it took you no time to replace your mom, huh? And then he goes in the room. There's also another line where they wake up in the morning and it's presumably before Steven goes to school. So it's like pretty early.
Yeah.
And Steven's friend is over, and all they say is, thanks for the baked potato. And Craig is like, yeah, sure, no problem. I didn't even know you had one. And it's like 7:30 in the morning. And he's
So
like, what do
good.
you mean? And this is where he's like, will you guys come to the bar with me? He calls Tammy a bunch of times after he drinks a bunch of boots of beer.
Yeah.
Iconic, incredible stuff. And basically goes down this really sad route. Then we get the frog lick.
Yeah.
Really a great bit that is kind of on its own. That frankly, the movie probably could have done without. That is a real I think you should leave bit.
Yes.
But I get it. Also really funny. He goes to see his cell phone provider again, who has told him, if you need something stronger, I get you the stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got all these hard drugs. What do you need? I also have this frog. And
The toad.
Right, the
Yeah.
toad. And he's like, it's $100. And Craig is like, oh, that's expensive little fucker. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, for a lick. That's for a
Yeah,
lick.
that's somebody's like, I don't even know what to feed it. Like, no, it's to lick it.
He takes a lick of the frog, and the guy is like, have a good trip, man. I'll see you when you get back, all this stuff. We enter this like psychedelic trip with Craig where he goes to a Subway and he orders a sandwich, and he's not even finished ordering. And this is Austin who's like taking his order.
Yeah.
He's not even finished ordering a sandwich, and he gets woken up from his trip by this cell phone guy. And he's like, yo, man, how was your trip? What did it feel like, 5 or 6 months? And he's like, no, it was like 2 minutes, man. I went to Subway and I ordered a sandwich. Incredible stuff. Didn't need to be in the movie. Really funny.
Yeah, this is like an easily cuttable
Yep.
moment in the film to get closer to that 90-minute runtime. But at the same time, if you're in at this point in the movie, you're still in for this.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, oh, did it feel like 5 months? Like, no, what? Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's so funny, so unnecessary. Doesn't move the plot forward at all. It doesn't really do
No.
anything for us, but it's still pretty funny.
Yeah. So strange. I'm trying to find that actor because I know that actor from a movie, right?
The cell phone dude.
The cell phone guy. What is he from? It's going to eat me alive.
Looks like he's in Saturday Night and When You Finish Saving the World.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I just know
Um,
him from those, huh?
Ghostbusters
Interesting.
Afterlife. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't watch that. Okay. The last thing I have here is the jail and the stick up and then kind of the ending. This is where Austin and Craig basically get thrown in jail together, and Austin's wig comes off for the
Yeah.
first time, and we realize he's kind of a sham. And again, like kind of tries to thematically dig a little bit here, which I think is worth noting, worth something. And then I can't remember exactly how this goes. How do we get from the jail to the stick-up scene? But Craig basically gets drunk and gets mad and goes over to Austin's house and crashes one of his guys' nights, right?
Yeah. And he goes and he's like, so I made one mistake. You guys, like, you let me in too early. Like, I can't
Mhm.
let me in, you know, and he's freaking out. And then he pulls out the gun, right? Doesn't
Yes.
he at that point? I think. Yeah.
He pulls out the gun, and this is where he's like, oh, you invited a new guy over? Like, what's your name, new guy? And I think his name is Jimp. And he's like, Jimp? And they basically have a back and forth. They basically have a back and forth about his name for like what feels like a minute straight, which is hilarious stuff. And then he does the stick up, and things get really violent and really aggressive. And he is basically like on the edge of like, this was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done this. But he makes it more serious because Austin's wig falls off again, and he just wants to impress his friend and cover for him. And so he turns full, like, I don't know, robber, burglar,
Yeah.
stick-up
Everyone
man.
get on the fucking ground, face down, like nobody look. The Jimp thing is also just like a perfect, I think you should leave skit. It's just like,
It is.
it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, whose name would be Jimp, you know? But it's just like, it works so well in this context. But yeah, no, this is super, it's really funny. It's him, like you said, trying to impress his friends still. And I don't know, kind of maybe works a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. This is where we get the kind of the revisitation of his monologue, I'm on the edge of life and the view is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Really, really funny stuff as well. Can you help me remind me, because this is one of my favorite lines in the movie. It's on IMDb. There's not a lot of lines out for this movie yet, obviously. Stop squeezing him. You're going to pop him. I can't remember like what that's in
Oh, it's
reference
when he's
to.
like giving him the toad to like lick the venom off. He's like, I think it looks
Stop squeezing him. You're gonna pop him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. Great. This is a great movie. It is totally a movie where it's like, the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the more you quote it, you're like, yeah, it's kind of great. And it works where it should work the most.
Yeah, it works really well. We didn't talk about like the thing that I laughed about the most, what's going to be my true cinema moment.
Okay.
And it is when Craig goes to visit Austin at work, and Austin has to like change his outfit into the golf setup, like because he's gonna do this little segment with this like 6-year-old kid who's apparently the next Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And Craig and Austin are talking, and the little kid comes over, and he looks like one of the old school golfers, like plaid vest, little hat on, you know, the knickers and socks and all that kind of stuff. And the kid comes walking up, and I don't know why this line just got me so bad. Craig just looks at him, he's like, "Oh, look at you dressed up like a little doll. You want to smoke a cigarette with us, you little doll?" Like, for some reason, that got me so hard. So I was like, who has a 6-year-old if they want to smoke a cigarette with them? And then, like, you dress like a doll, and it's like he's clearly a little golfer. Like, I don't know why, but that may have just been when my edibles hitting at the perfect time, because like that was the funniest shit to me. And I've said it to my dog now a couple times. I was like, I don't know why. It was just hilarious. You want to smoke a cigarette with us, you little doll? Like, oh, what a line.
I do wonder about the process of this movie. Is something like that was where they were just like, you get 2 lines, like figure it out, whatever you want to do. And just like Tim Robinson, this thing, it feels like there were a lot of moments like that where he was just riffing and doing his thing that work really, really well. I think for me, the true cinema, it's kind of hard to pick. I think the third act works, but it is a little bit disjointed for the rest of the movie. I think like the buildup is really, really good. I don't want to be that guy, but like like Tammy's coming back party and everything with Devin and Craig and then Connor O'Malley's character in the Afghanistan bit, I think is just unbelievably lights out. The whole fucking thing, the whole sequence is unbelievably funny from start to finish.
It's really good. And even like literally right before that, I forget the context. Like I think that they had just found her or something like that. And the cop's like, yeah, and then you're going to have all the people. He's like, what people?
What people?
And we just cut to this like huge party at his house. Like, I don't know why. That's so funny though. It's like, what people? The neighborhood, dude. Everyone.
And there is like there's like a small narrative of Tammy becoming like a news celebrity basically. And going and doing the weather with Austin, and Craig watches and is like, yeah, you were so great out there and all this stuff. And that's when Tammy is like, I don't want you anymore. I want Devin, which I think is really funny. Okay. Great movie. Really funny. Good stuff all the way around. A1 act. Tim Robinson seems fitting.
Yeah. I mean, that seems accurate here.
Obviously we have Friendship. We have Detroiters that you mentioned, SNL, and then I think you should leave Sketches. That's pretty much what I put on here.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of stuff. I will say quickly that last night, Tim Robinson is poking its way into my wife's world, which I could not be more happy about because she has no idea who Tim Robinson is, doesn't watch Tim Robinson. I've showed her a handful of sketches and she's like, yeah, that's funny. And I'm like, that's not how you respond to that, but okay, you do you. But last night, I said something to her and out of the blue, she responded. She goes, you sure about that? And I was like, don't you fucking take my guy and put that back on me. And she's like, what is that from? And I was like, that's from Tim Roth. Like, what do you mean? What is that from?
That's amazing.
And she's like, you sure about that? And I was like, that's my line. Like, that's my guy. That's my bit. But I think it's great. I think it's great that she's getting it. And that sketch is pretty funny. I don't know what I'm choosing.
Well, I was just going to suggest, like, there's 4 things here. They're all great. I want to know though, like, do you have a favorite I think you should leave sketch or one that you quote the most? I think that might be our A1 act.
Yeah. That's I'm looking up a master list right now of every single I think you should leave sketch. Which I
can
probably
tell you.
Oh, actually I know it.
Okay, what is it?
It helped me out because I don't know what it's called. It is the one where it says basically it's Connor O'Malley's character honking at Craig Robinson's car or Tim Robinson's car.
Yeah.
And then they get to the funeral and that's where Tim Robinson sings Friday Night.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bumper sticker says something like honk if you're
horny.
Horny.
And he
right?
honks and he's like, why would you say that if you don't have anything? And he's like, fine, I have something. And he opens up his trunk. It's a bunch of old nudie bags.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really funny. I go back to the nachos one as well. The you can't do that. That's a good one.
Yeah. I love man, there's a few and some I've used at my work in our like little videos and stuff, but I love the hot dog in the sleeves. Like, I'm just like the tiredest I've ever been in my life, you know? I love that. Obviously the classic, like Dan Flashes, like he's using all his per diem on clothes. Like, shut the fuck up. I love that. But I think one of my favorite skits is or sketches is when they're at dinner with their professor and he's like, that looks good.
Give me
that. I'm joking. Like, that one's probably my favorite.
Oh, there's just so many. There's
so many good ones.
It's unbelievable how good these ones are. Yeah, Barely Tonight is funny too, when he's on the phone because he's just like getting shut down on a TV show and he like slouches in the couch.
I mean, even
if you start to win, I go on my phone.
Yeah, I think it's the very first sketch of the first season, but when he like tries to open the door the wrong way. And the guy's like, no, it's a push. He's like, nope,
I think it is too.
Sure
He's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's a pull.
And he's just sitting there
See,
sweating,
told ya.
just like, and that's again like the moment where it's like you're either in on this or you're not, because like this is long, this is awkward, this is taking a lot of time, but either you think this is hilarious or you think this is the dumbest thing, and that's just like the beginning of friendship with like the cancer thing. It's like it's not coming back, you know. It's like you either think that's funny or you don't. Like that's kind of all there is to it.
Yeah, some really good ones out there. A24 ranking for this movie. I'm a little conflicted because I did give it 4 stars. Oh no, did I lose you again? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I'm here now.
Okay, it is about 100 degrees in this shed that I'm recording in, so my apologies to you and the listeners for breaking up. A24 ranking, I'm a little bit torn because I only gave it 4 stars, up from 3.5 on the first watch.
Yeah.
I don't think it is like the lights out comedy movie of the last 25 years, but I want to watch it again and I want to watch it a lot and I want to see a lot of parts of this movie. When it hits YouTube, this will be like a daily, like, let me watch this clip. So I'm going to go with an A24. I'm going to go with an A24. I think this is what A24 should be doing. I think this is them going back to kind of what I was talking about with their A24/7 situation with the Prince Charles. Like, this is what A24 feels like to me, and they do it very successfully. I don't think another distributor makes a movie like this or funds a movie like this or distributes a movie like this. So I'm glad that they did.
I think it's a great call. I think throughout our conversation, my grading changed.
Better or worse?
It went up.
Oh yeah, baby.
I was probably going to go with a B+, but I think I'm going to go with the A-.
I love it.
Just how much we talked about it and like stuff I'd forgotten about. It's like, oh yeah, that's so funny. I do, again, like I agree with what you said. I think part like the second half kind of drags, and I was expecting maybe some more jokes, some more stuff, but what was there was great. And I just need to rewatch it again. But yeah, I would go with the A- for sure.
It's a really good rewatch movie for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like it's going to be. So yeah, really excited to own this movie. I think Friendship is really funny and a great direction for Tim Robinson, for A24 and everything they're doing.
Yeah.
Next time on the pod, we're talking about Bring Her Back, which is being touted as one of the fucking scariest movies ever. Dude,
Oh my
I'm
God.
not ready.
I am not ready at all. I told Ashley she might have to sub in for me because I'm like, I don't know if I can do it.
You can't do it? You
Yeah.
have to do it, Ben. You can't back out on me.
Let's just, have her and Molly talk about it. Like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll work out well. Talking about a movie that neither of them will probably watch. I'm excited for Bring Her Back. I'm petrified, but this movie does come out on May 30th. So by basically when this pod comes out, will be opening weekend for Bring Her Back. I'm excited.
Be back to talk about it.
And we will be back, to talk about Bring Her Back. I think in a couple of weeks is probably when we're going to be back. And when we were recording, the very first reactions of Materialists dropped, and they are quite positive from what I'm seeing.
Celine Song, I love it.
Yeah, back for more. Dakota Johnson, take over Hollywood, please.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited.
All right. Let us know what you guys thought about Friendship. We are on Twitter and Instagram at 24 minutes of A24. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube where you can watch us talk about these projects. You can see us react in live time to the Smashing Machine trailer, which I think looks very interesting. It's probably going to be really good. So, yeah, let us know what you guys think. Thanks so much, everyone, for your support. We appreciate it. I am Ben Lawhorn.
And I am Ethan Simi. Spring break forever, bitches.